Welcome back to The Big Show. One of my old friends that I love very much is Carl McGiffin. How are you?
I'm all right, Alex. How are you?
You're trouble.
I'm not trouble. You're trouble.
No, you're trouble. You nearly get me fired every time we talk.
I promise not to get you fired. But if you've read anything in the book, then you know what not to bring up, right?
Oh, really? You've got a new book out? I didn't know.
Yeah, I have. That's why you're talking to me now.
I mean, this book is so honest, just like you. You've put it all down on paper. This is going to live with you forever.
I know it is, but, I'm not ashamed of anything. And, that's the way it is. It says on the cover, life, love, and telling it like it is. And that's how it is, or how it was. So, why not? I'm not going to skirt over stuff, and I'm not going to, nothing is embellished. There's no untruths in there. And, that's it. That's my life. And if you want to read it, read it. But if you don't, then that's your problem.
You love to be loved, don't you?
Everybody does, though, don't they? Everybody loves to be loved. Of course, I love people who love me, but I know there are a lot of people out there who don't. So that's their prerogative. I don't mind. People can do what they like. I'm not actually a people pleaser, and that's why all the other women on Loose Women, they're always saying to me, "Oh, you don't care what people think, do you?" No, I don't, and I'm not going to tailor my opinions or my life to try and please people who I know are just not ever going to be pleased with anything that I say or do. So, that's why I'm just, proud really to be myself all the time.
I think we're very similar in that way. I do what I do on air and I really don't care, but I can be easily wounded. I get that from the book in a way, that people can press your buttons in certain ways. Yeah,
you know what? There have been a very few people who have ever done that, wound me up to the point of temper or hatred or whatever. And so I do try to avoid those kinds of people. And, now you probably know this. There are a lot of people around who would like to be able to do that. People do want to wind you up. And if you're in the public eye or you're working in the media, people do want to bring you down sometimes. But I don't know how you deal with it. But of course I get wounded. Some people can say some really hurtful things, but I think sometimes you've just got to try and not know what they're saying. You've got to stay away from it. I'm not one of those people, and I do know people who are absolutely insistent on knowing everything that everybody says, however awful it might be. It's almost like it's like self-abuse. You've got to go onto a website or a forum and actually try and find something really hateful about yourself. I'm not doing that. I would never ever do that. I'm not interested. So, people can have their opinion. They're entitled to that. But, I don't necessarily want to know about it.
What about the facade? Because you can easily upset people. You're open and you're very honest. Do you find that some people think that really is you?
It's a job. That's what you're paid to do. So, that's what you do for that hour a day. But okay, you can ask any of my friends. If we're in the pub and somebody starts or brings up a discussion, I will wade right in. And so probably I am like that most of the time. I have got an opinion about everything. Things do wind me up. And, a lot of people would just say, "Oh, no, don't get her started," because I do go into one quite a lot of the time. So I think, I probably am like that most of the time. I am quiet sometimes. I do sometimes watch TV with my mouth closed, but not very often.
Let's go back right to the beginning. I want to know what you were like as a child.
Well, I was the second born, so I was a bit of a naughty kid, actually. I mean, at 3 years old, I went on a shoplifting spree to Woolworths, and I really was 3. We used to live in this sort of town centre street. My dad was the manager of a big store there, and my local sweet shop, honestly, was Woolworths. It was 2 doors down, and literally in the 60s, kids could just walk about. They could do what they want. They could ask strangers to help them across the road, that sort of thing. And I did used to wander out and go and buy sweets or steal sweets from the pick and mix in Woolworths. But the one thing that I used to do quite a lot was steal, for some reason, mouth organs. And I don't know why. I had a big stash in the cupboard.
I'm sorry, there's obviously a problem with our line between here and London. I think you just said that you had a problem with mouth organs.
Yeah, I did, yeah. Harmonicas. I really don't want to get you fired again, Alex. Harmonicas. I did used to go into Woolworths and steal them, and I had a stash in the room, in the little cupboard, in the living room of the flat where we lived. And I used to go in there and just get them out of the boxes and play with them until I got caught by my mum. And looking back on it, I honestly think it was because I was a second child. You know, my sister was the eldest. I was second born. There's nothing special about me there. My brother was the only boy, and my little sister is the youngest. And I was just stuck there in the middle. And it's often said that second children are always sort of vying for attention when they're younger, and it makes them naughty. And I think that's what happened to me. I was quite naughty, but not in a conscious I'm going to be naughty kind of way, but I think in a right, I'm going to get my mum's attention by doing something that I know I shouldn't do. And that doesn't necessarily mean naughty. It just means more mischievous, if you like.
What I love about you today is your confidence. Were you always this confident as a teenager? Yeah,
I think I was. I mean, I believe it or not, I'm not really that confident. I'm quite shy, and I'm a little bit self-conscious a lot of the time. Now that probably is a facade that I put on. You know, people do think I just stride into a room and I'll talk to anybody and I'll be the life and soul of the party. I'm not really like that at all. But I have to say, as a teenager, yeah, nothing could stop me as a teenager. I had no sort of self-awareness really about anything. I did get quite fat at one stage, but I never thought I was fat. I just thought my trousers didn't fit me anymore, and just carried on eating until I kind of, worked out what I needed to do to not be fat. But I would go after anybody I wanted to go after, to go out with, boys. I would drive anywhere. At 17 years old, I bought a car, passed my driving test, and I used to drive like from Maidstone up to places like, Milton Keynes or places like that, like miles away. And, even before the M25, this was a long, long time ago. And I would just drive, not knowing where I was, not knowing where I was going. And it was that sort of confidence that I had when I was a teenager, yeah. And that probably stems from the way my mum brought me up, great self-esteem. I've got good self-esteem, but not necessarily confidence. So yeah, people probably do. I'm probably a bit of a confidence trickster, to be honest.
And of course you're a socialite as well, or indeed you were perhaps 10 or 15 years ago. I mean, you and Biggins are up there with the best, aren't you, really?
Me and Biggins. But do you think that I go to the opening of an envelope?
Not now, but I think there was a time when you would have.
In the 90s, yeah, when I was, and I sort of got my life back after my hideous marriage, yeah, I would have gone to anything. And I was a party animal, and I did sort of stay up way too late. Even when I was doing a radio show on a breakfast radio show, and I used to have to be in work at 3:00, I'd still go out and, more often than not sleep. And I'm sure you've done that, Alex. I bet you have.
Not as much as you.
Well, maybe not as much as me, but, I don't do it now. I can't do it now because, I haven't got a breakfast radio show, so I don't need to do it. But yeah, I do. I like to go out and I like to have a good time, but I can't do it as much as I used to.
I want to talk to you about being cute and attractive and being in London and being a media tart. That didn't really do you any harm, did it?
What do you mean? Tell me what you mean. I don't think I'm particularly cute or attractive.
Well,
I'm all right.
Not now, but 10 years ago.
Not now.
No,
I love it.
I love you, you know that. But listen, I've been in London over the years doing radio shows. Nobody's waiting to take pictures of me. Nobody's interested. Being a cute woman in your prime, you are going to court attention. And we all know how the game is played in London. It's about the headlines and being seen. And meeting people like Chris Evans doesn't do you any harm.
I'm under no illusion that there is a possibility that I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today if I had not been married to him. That certainly there lots of twists and turns in my life that have given me amazing opportunities, and a lot of them have just been down to the way that I am. And let's face it, I wouldn't have been with Chris if I wasn't the way I am. It's as simple as that. So it's not like I stalked him because he was famous at the time. He wasn't famous. Nobody knew who he was when I met him. He was a DJ up in Manchester, just been fired, in fact, from Piccadilly. So it wasn't a conscious decision to do that. But you're right. Of course, it hasn't done me any harm. But I've capitalised on that in a way that only I can, and that way is that I don't know that I'm doing it most of the time, and that is the honest truth.
You say what you think, and I think that's appealing. And I honestly believe this. I'm a good mate of Jane McDonald, and I love that woman to death. But
yeah, so do I.
But I genuinely believe it was you and your big trap that got that programme off the ground, because your honesty was revolutionary for daytime TV. We've all done it on late night radio, but it was your trappiness that was intriguing to viewers.
I don't know. I kind of disagree with you in a sense, because I think that the whole package works with the show, because I might be different from the other girls in that I am quite a loudmouth, and I do say what I think, and it is different for daytime television, but it wouldn't work without Jane there. It wouldn't work without Denise. It wouldn't work without Sherry. It wouldn't work without the other girls. Do you know what I mean? It's an absolute formula, and it's working, and it only works because of everybody and not just because of one person.
In your life, you've had ups and downs, and you seem to be at a peak both professionally and privately. You've got yourself a new boyfriend, and when I say boy, you're putting the boy in the friend, aren't you?
Yes, he is. He's my boyfriend, but he's also my fiancé. I tell you what, everything is great at the moment, and I haven't just got myself a new boyfriend. We've been together for nearly 2 years. 2 years in about a month's time. So things have got better and better. That's my life and the way it is. And this is why I always say to people, don't strive to achieve too much too soon, because things do come to you when they're supposed to come to you. And, if you just wait, if you peak too early, you'll be disappointed for the rest of your life. If you've achieved everything by the time you're 30, what are you going to do when you're 50? You'll be sitting around going, oh my God, I've got nothing else to do, and nothing else to achieve. So with me, everything has just happened as it's happened. I've not particularly chased after anything or gone after anything. And I enjoy it. I really enjoy it. But, I know I was talking to someone earlier today, and they said, what if you lost it all tomorrow and it all went wrong? Well, I'd find something else to do. I would be happy still, and I would find something else to do. So I'll enjoy it for as long as it goes on. But if it goes, well, that's life.
How big's yours?
How big's my what?
Between you and your partner.
Oh, the age gap. Oh, I thought you meant the gap when you're sleeping at night. That's quite big. It's 22 years. It's 22 years. He's 28, and I'm 22 years older than that.
How does that work? I mean, he wants to watch Thomas the Tank Engine and you want to watch Loose Women. Is it working okay?
Do you know what? You sound like them loose women. They think it's really funny when they make jokes about his Superman outfit and his Thomas the Tank Engine and, going to Toys R Us. He's not that young. No, we've got the same tastes in almost everything, actually, telly-wise especially. We both like Megastructures and Air Crash Investigation and Banged Up Abroad. We love all those shows. And, he doesn't sort of sit there moaning to watch MTV all the time. He's a very grown-up 28-year-old, Alex.
Have you ever been banged up abroad?
No, I have not. God, can you imagine? When I watch that programme, I think, how could you be so stupid? How on earth can you get yourself locked up in that hellhole? You must have known what you were doing. They all pretend they don't, though, don't they?
Of course, and
Good
that's
show.
the thing. The thing about you is, I watch these old programmes of Loose Women, and you look as rough as anything all those years ago when it started. Now you're looking hotter than ever, and you could say that certainly for Colleen and Jane as well. It's amazing how you've receded and kind of look 20 years younger than you did when you started. Congratulations.
Well, thank you very much. But you're absolutely right about that, because, while I was writing my book, I was looking at old tapes of Loose Women and trying to recall my first time on it and what it was like and everything else. And I was absolutely horrified by what I looked like. I looked shocking.
You were
really
a mess.
Bad. I was a mess.
Yeah.
I took no pride in my appearance whatsoever. I'm pretty bad now, but, I think you're right. We've all improved with age. We're all like cheese and fine wine. We've all got better with age.
Very finally, before we go, you've written this book. Is there any question you've been hoping that someone would ask you that they haven't bothered?
No, nobody's asked me about the cucumber yet.
The cucumber?
Yeah.
Carol, let me ask you about the cucumber.
No, Alex, I don't want you to get fired.
You're a great turn, and it's always nice to get you on the programme. Carol McGiffin's new book, it's called...
Oh, Carol.
And of course that was after the song, and the man was on the show and sang it to you.
That's right, he did. Yeah, my finest moment, actually, it was. Yeah, Neil Sedaka on Loose Women with a piano and the girls sitting round being serenaded. It was amazing.
And look at that, like magic, we're playing it in the background.
Oh, how lovely. I love you.
I love you more, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, there is.